I'm Diana Wentworth, and I'm so excited to be with you. I'm the co-founder of the Inside Edge Foundation for Education. It's been a forum for thought leaders and all kinds of people who are activists in the world where they meet and greet and expand who they are. And we've been recording 1,500 of our past speakers. And we're going to take the very best of these and offer them on our YouTube channel. We're starting to post them weekly. So what you want to do is go to our YouTube channel and to subscribe to it, and you'll get all kinds of information about what we're offering. It's so thrilling to be offering this legacy to you now. It feels really good. Well, I just have to tell you how thrilled I am. I get to introduce John right now. John is one of the warmest, most caring people, and certainly one of the most successful authors of all time. He's the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus. USA Today listed his book as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. In hardcover, it was the #1 best-selling book of the 90s. Dr. Gray's books are translated into approximately 45 languages in more than 100 countries, and it continues to be a bestseller. His 20 books, blogs, and free online workshops at marsvenus.com provide practical insights to improve relationships at all stages of life and love. An advocate of health and optimal brain function, he also provides natural solutions for overcoming depression, anxiety, and stress to support increased energy, libido, hormonal balance, and better sleep. He even healed himself from Parkinson's, I learned yesterday, which was huge. He has appeared repeatedly on Oprah as well as on the Dr. Oz show, Today, CBS This Morning, Good Morning America, and others. He's profiled in Time, Forbes, USA Today, and People, and he was also the subject of a 3-hour special hosted by Barbara Walters. John Gray lives in Northern California, where for 34 years he happily shared his life with his beautiful wife, Bonnie, until her passing in 2018. They have 3 grown daughters and 4 grandchildren. He is an avid follower of his own health and relationship advice. And John, we welcome you with all our heart. So thank you for being here.
Diane, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Oh, okay, good. I am really thrilled to be with all of you. It's like a coming home. When I was much younger and starting out with my ideas of Men Are from Mars, Women Are from Venus, Diane invited me, and it was a wonderful presentation, a wonderful time in my life. And it's funny because I feel like I'm back at that time. I'm never, ever nervous when I talk, but just being with you, I feel like back when I was back in those days, a little nervousness. So it's really fun for me. And what I'll be talking about today is a lot of the new ideas that I've been putting out in this book, Beyond Mars and Venus, which is relationship skills for today's complex world. Because what happened for many of us, I look at our group, and a lot of us came of age around the 60s. And that was a time of tremendous transformation in terms of gender. Here I am, this young guy, and in 1968, 1969, 68, I became a hippie. And I grew my hair out. I had bell-bottom pants, a buckle, beads, and demonstrated for against the war in Vietnam, peace, love, meditation, and getting high. So what was happening to me? Well, I was becoming more feminine. You see, so many of us went over to our feminine side as men and really enjoyed it, because historically we've been confined to masculine qualities and not allowed to go to our female side. And suddenly there was an ecstatic experience of feeling whole. That's our spiritual experience, is where we're both masculine and feminine. We have a masculine side and a feminine side. And as I was able to go to my feminine side, which I then went on to learn meditation and teach meditation, become a monk even, and really become very, very spiritual. But it was going to my female side, trying to balance with my male side. You want both things together because as a spiritual being, I'm both masculine and feminine. But I come into this body as a man, but suddenly culture allowed me to say, hey, you have permission to go over and feel peace, love, and happiness, joy, harmony, and all of that. Well, meanwhile, in the 60s, women were busy saying, we could be like men, free sex. That only lasted a short period of time, but there was women's support groups. We're going to be CEOs. We're going to be engineers. We're going to be astronauts. We're going to do it all. Whatever men can do, we can do better. And they proved themselves. It took a while to sort of break through all that resistance, but what an ecstatic experience of empowerment, female empowerment, to go to their male side. Because when you've been repressed and suppressed for so long by our culture, suddenly the culture liberated women to come out and express their masculine side. And to various degrees, women would go to their male side. To various degrees, men went to their female side. The challenge, though, is how to maintain that balance. For men, they go to their emotional side, how to come back and find that detached side that Buddha taught about, which is if you have problems, don't be upset. Let it go. Forget it. Go into nirvana. Let it all go. That's the emptiness of our masculine side and the fullness of our feminine side, which is color. I know when I first came from being a monk, came out into the world to study psychology to help my brother who was bipolar, and meditation didn't fix the bipolar. I thought maybe psychology would do it. So I came out to California to learn the new psychology. And then eventually I became a marriage counselor and I met Bonnie and fell in love. And one of the experiences I noticed so dramatically, having become a master of meditation, 9 years of doing all that, and celibacy, pure celibate, that really helps you detach and experience the fullness of emptiness. But through her, I experienced color like I'd never experienced before. Literally, my life lit up. And that is my female side again. It's coming back at that point in my life. And learning how to harmonize both the male side and the female side, I believe those of us who are here with a mission and a purpose, we have to find that. And relationships can be an incredible way to find that. And certainly not the only way, but it's a rather ecstatic way when you learn to bring forth the masculine and feminine into your sex life. And what's interesting when I teach around the world is that the number one thing people who come to my seminars want is passion. They want to feel that attraction. They want to feel that passion that they felt in the beginning. And many people have just gone into denial and said it's not possible because historically it wasn't possible. Historically, there was something called the honeymoon period, and it didn't last that long, and you didn't expect the passion to last. But today, people want that, and they can have that, but it takes a new set of skill sets, which we'll be talking about today. So as women went to their male side, the challenge for them was to balance that, to come back to their female side. Well, when you're on your male side, one of the qualities of masculinity is independence. That's our male side. Our female side is dependence, needing someone. A balanced place is interdependence, and that's why we're striving for equality. But when I depend on you for something, I'm on my female side. And when I depend on myself for something, I'm on my male side. And Maslow helped us to understand this basic evolution of our spirit and soul into this incarnation, which was when we can satisfy our lower needs like survival and security, we have a home, we have food, we have protection, there's police. When we can do all that without really depending on someone, we can handle it ourselves. Suddenly, our higher needs become more important than our lower needs because they're already satisfied. I can do that myself. So why do I need you? Well, I need you to then go to a higher level. And I simplify that by calling that emotional fulfillment. People today want to experience love more than ever before. Love has a greater value than ever before. You know, I remember once being with my wife, we bought a ranch a long time ago as kind of a getaway place. And it was an old 100-year-old building. And it was cold when we first went up there. And we had a little bit of an argument on the way up. But we got there It was so cold. I built a fire and our argument went away because it was so comforting to be next to the fire. And when your basic needs, when you need warmth, suddenly relationship issues disappear and you're getting your basic needs met. But as we can fulfill our own needs, then we rise to a new level. And we have to become aware of what that new level is, because many women, as they went over to their male side, they can satisfy on their own without depending on a man for money or protection or support, or even for babies now. When you can do it all yourself, then what do you need a man for? And I hear this from many women. And these many women will say, you know, it's like having another child. Why do I need that? I can do it all myself. And at the same time, when I'm talking to these women, they're often taking sleeping pills. They can't sleep at night. They're often taking antidepressants. They're often feeling overwhelmed and stressed much of the time. What's missing? Well, I went to the biology for this because, you know, what I said so far just sounds like a theory and whatever, but I'd like to talk about facts for a moment. The facts are, if a woman is happy, she tends to have 10 times more estrogen than a man. Our hormones are very, very different. And the facts are, if a man is happy, he has at least 10 times more testosterone than a woman. These are biological differences from us. And we also know that if I'm feeling pressure to achieve a goal, making sacrifices, doing things I have to do in order to accomplish a goal, what gets produced in my body is testosterone in a man's body or a woman's body. And during that time, if testosterone is going up, my estrogen in most cases is not going up. So we tend to lean one direction, we're not getting the support on the other side. Now, when I do things that I enjoy, like if I'm eating, I'm depending on the food to feel good, my estrogen goes up. If I'm depending on someone for love, for approval, for acceptance, for caring, I'm needing their support to feel good, my estrogen levels go up. So this is very highly important. It's very important information. When women's testosterone is going up and their estrogen is low, you can measure in her body the adrenaline is being produced, which then turns into cortisol. These are the stress hormones. When a man experiences adrenaline and cortisol, the first thing that will happen when he gets the cortisol is his estrogen levels are starting to rise and his testosterone levels are going down. This is very interesting. Most people associate aggression in men, anger in men with testosterone. But actually, one of the university professors at Stanford discovered with a lot of research that that was all wrong. And it turns out that men are only angry, aggressive, when their estrogen levels are going very high and their testosterone is low. Now, this is very important because testosterone gets a bad rap, but the truth is any man, when he falls in love, his testosterone levels will double or triple. And when a woman falls in love, we also know biologically that feeling of orgasm for women, we know at that time that her estrogen levels have doubled. And that's when a woman will tend to feel the greatest level of surrender and falling in love. And we know that men are much more attractive to women. These are all big studies that have done around the time of ovulation. Now, why is she so attracted to him, thinking more about sex? Because her estrogen levels are 20 times higher than a man's, a healthy man. Now, an unhealthy man will have high estrogen. A depressed man has low testosterone. A grumpy, irritable, depressed man will have low testosterone and high estrogen. Unmotivated men have low testosterone and high estrogen. Addicted men have high estrogen. See, addiction is overly depending on something else to make me happy other than my actions, my service, my good actions. See, this is the balance hormonally in our bodies. And we have to recognize this because particularly as I look at my wonderful group here today, we're all spiritual. You know, there's so many enlightened spiritual beings. And our challenge as enlightened spiritual beings is the same challenge of a lot of the young youths that are coming into the world, you know, who are very, very pure and so open to the higher energies. They have the confusion about, am I man or am I woman? What is masculine? What is feminine? I have it both. But what we can look at biologically is that when people are unhappy, If they have a male body and they're unhappy, their testosterone levels are low and their estrogen is high. We see that. And if a woman is unhappy, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, feeling consumed with her job, feeling pressures, it's so easy for us to suddenly say, oh, it's the outer world, it's the outer world, it's the outer world. But as spiritual beings, we know we create our lives, and we create that mess out there for ourselves when the inner world is a mess. And the inner mess is just simply a confusion of a higher potential, which is coming into the world. So much more light, so much more energy, so much more love everywhere, peace and love. We want it. But ironically, we're not getting it to a great extent. We're seeing more problems than ever before. Because when you have the ability to go right or go left, it's hard to find middle. Because what happens is you go left, it feels so good. If you're on the right and you go to the left, you go, oh, I'm so free. This is amazing. Hard to come back. That's what we have to learn. And that's what relationships can do for us, particularly relationships with people who have different hormones. Meaning that if I'm on my male side, I have the power through communication to help my wife come back to her female side. As a woman, she has the power to bring forth my masculine side. So through a relationship, we can actually balance our own inner hormones. So let's look at a practical example of that. Communication. And one of the things, ironically, while Beyond Mars and Venus helps us to understand our different qualities and new skills, a lot of those skills were actually there in my book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, because that book really talked about when a woman's on her female side, what does she need most? And this book explains that when women feel like they're from Mars, they actually need that information more than ever, but they think they don't because it doesn't feel natural. You know, when you're falling down, it feels automatic, it feels natural. For example, we all know eating too much sugar is not good for us. It's going way out of balance for our blood sugar. But once you start eating cake or ice cream, it's hard to stop. It doesn't feel natural to stop. So many of the things that are actually not good for us feel very natural and easy. It's easy to yell and scream and complain for many people. It feels very natural. It doesn't feel natural to take a step back and reflect on, do these negative emotions serve me in any way? So what's natural is not the thing we want to look for. What works is the thing we want to look for. So what I've seen happen is, as a marriage counselor, mostly women would come to me complaining about their husbands. And they would always say, how do I change him? How do I change him? And how do I get him to do this? How do I get him to do that? He doesn't do this. How do I? And being a man, I understood that if you try to change me, I don't change. Whatever you resist will persist. And so I would help women. And I discovered this. It was a very brilliant insight then, maybe common knowledge now. But what I learned, if I didn't focus on solving their problems, but instead I would say, well, let's wait to get the solution. Let me understand in greater detail how you feel about it, what he says, what he does, how does that react inside of you? And very gently, I would help them start looking at their emotions and their feelings and their wishes and their wants and some of their wounds from childhood in the past. And all they would have to do is begin expressing how they feel. And by the end of the session, after a few sessions, they would cry. They'd just come into the room and start crying because it was such a safe place. Because it turns out that when you cry, whether you're a man or a woman, estrogen levels soar. And for women, when they're out of balance, if they can bring their estrogen levels up, their stress levels will go down. And when their stress levels go down, then blood flow shifts from being in the middle of the brain to the front part of the brain. And that's where you're able to be the spiritual being that you are and see that all life is grace. And there's goodness surrounds you, abundance surrounds you. All the things we affirm, all the things we experience, we lose that perception instantly when we go into fight or flight. And the world is living in fight or flight right now. So all they're living in is fear and negativity and so forth. And that continually sustains your hormones being out of balance. So let's look at that again. Let's summarize it. When men are weak on their masculine side, their female side becomes strong. And if it goes way far over there, unfortunately for our kids today, this is happening so much, they get addicted to internet porn. Ironically, the most estrogen stimulating thing you can experience as a man is ejaculation. And now they're ejaculating every day to porn. It's an addiction. And their testosterone are measurably, dramatically lower than in previous generations. This is a crime to humanity. It's so sad to see them wasting their lives away playing games. See, our female side, one of the qualities of our female side, producing estrogen or progesterone or oxytocin, it's a little more complicated than just estrogen, but I simplify female hormones, is having fun, enjoying yourself, loving life, feeling no pressure, feeling an abundance of time, an abundance of fullness in your life. That's estrogen. Falling in love, that's estrogen. But also being super unhappy is estrogen as well. It's feelings. When you're having feelings, basically when estrogen rises higher and higher, you're in touch with your needs. And if you don't feel that you can get what you need, then you become very unhappy. That's the first step. Then you swing over to your male side and say, well, I'll do it myself. I can't depend on others. And then your testosterone goes up. So often when women fall in love, their estrogen goes very high. They now become aware that, oh, I need support because they have it. But then when it goes away, they feel tremendous negative emotions as they shift from their female side to their male side to say, well, I'll do it myself. I can't depend on others. And that's a natural tendency. What we want to do is just be aware of what's going on in our bodies. For example, for me as a husband, I remember around 23 years into my marriage with Bonnie, I said to her, well, how do you rate me as a husband, honey? Because I was feeling pretty cocky and confident. I took many years to figure all this stuff out, but we had great sex life, great marriage, so much love. And I said to her, how do you rate me? And she said, well, as a husband, as a father to our children, you're the very best. I couldn't imagine a better man. As a husband, you're not perfect. I kind of feel that's a woman's job to remind us we're not perfect. But she said, so I didn't take that defensive at all. She said, as a husband, you're not perfect. But John, you've given me the greatest gift any woman could ever want. And I said, what's that? And she said, I know that I can say things and do things that really upset you. And every time you start to get upset or angry, you always stop talking. You go to your cave and you do some magic. I don't know what you do, but you always come out of that cave with more love, with more love. And that's called growing in love. And you grow in love by overcoming your challenges. When challenges come up and you're able to reflect on them and see how you contribute to them, you find forgiveness for the other person, forgiveness for yourself. And you come back with more love, not to change them, but having changed yourself. And she saw that. And she said to me, that's the greatest gift, because I know now, no matter what I say or do, I can never push you out of my life. And you'll always be here. And that is security. And security is the biggest oxytocin producer. Very important hormone for women, is proven to lower their stress levels. Oxytocin is related to safety. I can be myself and I will always be loved. What a beautiful experience. That's oxytocin. Many things can stimulate oxytocin, but that's the most powerful. Relationship, you're safe to be emotionally naked, not just physically naked, emotionally naked, to reveal, be completely transparent, to be seen, to be loved, to be adored, to be cherished, to be understood, to be validated, to be approved of. These are all different forms of love that we saw in the beginning that people said they wanted. To be able to have that and know that when you're not that, your partner is not going to cast you out, because none of us are perfect. We all kind of ride a wave. For women, as I talk about in Men Are From Mars, they tend to ride the wave of feeling really good and then they crash a little, feeling good and then crash a little. It's a wave going up and down. I tell my audiences, men, let it go. Women are like the weather. They're Mother Nature. Sometimes there's going to be fires. Sometimes there's rain. Sometimes there's tornadoes. But most of the time, and always, the sun is shining, just clouds are in the way. Don't try to change her. Learn how to love her. Don't try to fix her. Learn how to love her. And that's what I saw as a therapist. For years, it was the foundation of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, is that when I would just ask questions and not give solutions, women would go deeper into their feelings and leave happy. Because when stress goes down, blood flow goes to the front part of the brain. They don't need me to fix them. They're quite capable of being happy and fulfilled. Although good instruction at other times is important so we can correctly interpret each other, which is how I began to develop the ideas of Men Are From Mars. Because I saw so many times men just don't get it with women and women don't get it with men. And there's so many different examples of that. We have a short period of time. I'm not so sure how much time I have, Diane. I don't see this clock.
We have about 5 minutes before we thought we might go into some breakout rooms.
Okay, good. I have 5 minutes. So here's a practical example of, first of all, what are masculine and feminine qualities? We'll be talking about that in the break room. Femininity is receptivity. Whenever someone is doing something for you, your female hormones will get produced. Now, the first thing I was providing for my wife is that safety, because I learned that if you have to make female hormones increase, you need to talk about your feelings, your inner world, share your thoughts, feelings, wishes, wants, needs. That's our inner world. And when you share that inner world and someone listens, what happens is estrogen goes up in the speaker and testosterone goes up in the listener. Because you're penetrating. You're not talking about you. You're selfless. Selflessness is our masculine side. You're giving something meaningful, your attention, your love, your understanding. Giving is our male side. Most people think that's the female side. No, when a soldier goes into battle, what's he doing? He's giving his life for others. Giving is our masculine side. The receptivity is our feminine side. Happiness, joy, love, appreciation, trust. This is learning how to develop both sides of us, and simple conversation where a woman reveals to her partner what she doesn't reveal to anybody else. Think about it, women. When you're being the CEO, you're running a company, you're trying to achieve your goals to make money in the world. You can't reveal everything you feel inside. You can't reveal your insecurities, your feelings of guilt, your feelings of shame, insecurity, embarrassment, frustration, disappointments. No, you got to solve the problem like what we men do as well. You don't share all your feelings inside. You suck it up and get the job done. But that only makes testosterone. To come back to your female side, share with your partner what you wouldn't share with other people. And that's intimacy. That's what makes it special. That's where you feel safe to reveal what's inside. And his job isn't for you to make him safe and reveal what's inside. His primary job is to be there for you. And as you open up, you will feel a greater sense of appreciation and love. And that will keep his testosterone up. Whatever emotional problems he has disappear when his testosterone goes up. And his estrogen level stays up as well because he's connecting with you. That's ecstasy. That's when I can be both masculine and feminine. I knew I had a great relationship when I could listen to my body's feelings and it turned me on sexually. That's hormones going up because I'm penetrating her emotionally. This takes sex, not just a physical level, to a higher level, and then to the spiritual level, which is the orgasm, which is I'm yours. I'm your husband, but I'm yours. You're mine. It's so beautiful. And we're one. That's what we can have. That's the spiritual ecstasy. And then to live in that and to generate it again and again, because you bring in more light into the world sucks it out of you. An intimate relationship can allow you to build those things back up so you share it with each other. So that's one of the basic ideas of Men Are From Mars, which is women share and men listen. Not try to solve her problems, but solve the new problem. Help her come back to her female side. Women don't need men to solve their problems anymore. They need men to help them solve the biggest problem. Help her come back to the female side. So there's a million ways this principle applies, but that's one of the most important, which is listen, men. And if you start to get angry, don't talk. Because if you talk, your estrogen is going to go up. What you do is what Buddha taught men. He primarily taught men meditation, is forget it. Stop talking, become quiet, detach, come back to yourself, self-sufficiency. And what a woman can do when her husband goes to her cave, she's going, well, I need. She has to learn not to need just him, but to need other forms of love, her friends, God, herself, her children, giving unconditionally to them, nature, all these different sources of love and support, because the ecstasy of an intimate relationship is so high, it can become addictive. So when he goes to his cave, that's the time for a woman to, what I call, have a life, where he's only 1/10 of what you need. 1/10. You have 9 other big needs that I talk about in my books, but I just sort of went over. And then you suddenly have the 90-10 principle, which is whenever you feel dissatisfied with your partner, you're expecting too much from them. Come back to loving yourself. Come back to educating yourself. Come back to doing a yoga class. Come back to meditating. Come back to thanking God. All these other things in your life can provide fulfillment, not just looking to your partner. Think of men, women, as just dessert. They're the whipped cream on top. I never look at my wife as if her job is to make me happy. And I don't look to her as if my job is to make her happy. My job is to make her happier and allow her to be herself. And her job is to make me happier, ironically, by letting me provide extra support for her. What a beautiful way. Takes away blame in our relationships, helps us to come back to a new way of generating happiness within ourselves, and through relationship becoming happier. So with that, I thought we would do a little exercise here where you would, we'll do breakout, where you'll be able to talk about how you relate to what I'm talking about in terms of your male and female side. Which side do you relate to more? So in summary, some of the aspects of our male and female side, as I mentioned, but I'll go through a few, is whenever you feel self-sufficient, that's your male side. I'll do it myself. I depend on you. I'll ask for help. That's your female side. Whenever you're focused on achieving a goal, that's your male side. Whenever you're in a nurturing situation, that's more your female side. When you're feeling happy and joyful doing what you like to do, that's your female side. When you're spending time doing what you have to do because you have a noble mission and purpose, or you have to make money, that's your male side. So there's a few. Whenever you have to make a decision, that's risk and danger, because whenever you make a decision, that means it might work or it might not work. That's pressure. So that part of you has to make a decision. That's your male side. And the part of you likes to follow the leader, a supporter, that's your female side. Now, as a man, we all, and a woman, we have different qualities. We all have them all ultimately to different degrees. And then you can start talking about which ones you relate to most. And another one is your logical side. That's your male side. And then it's your emotional side. That's your female side. So having discussed this in your little group, you'll be able to share how you relate to your male side and your female side. And I think it'll be fun to hear other people's experience with this. You know, in a short talk, I can't cover all the parameters. So that's why I have the questions. It's very natural for all women as they get older to feel more independent. And their challenge is to maintain estrogen production. And when your ovaries have been removed, menopause, you'll lose estrogen from your ovaries anyway. And your adrenal gland also has the ability to produce enough estrogen to have balance, okay? Because there's happy women, you know, I know women 85 have a great sex life with their 65-year-old boyfriend. They're like, you know, so it does happen. But it takes a willfulness. Remember I said it's not natural to come back into balance. When you're falling off a cliff, it's not natural to come back. You got to use willpower to come back. And I'm just pointing out the ways to come back, and you know, a variety of ways to come back and produce your estrogen. But testosterone then becomes your enemy to a certain extent if you want to come back to estrogen. And so what you do is you recognize you're independent, you're capable, you're competent, you're solving problems, you're helping people, you're giving to people. That's your male side. So you have to practice not over giving. You have to practice lowering the pressures in your life, you know, because you can feel so pressured on your male side to lose what makes you happy. Reflect on the things that you don't have to do that you enjoy doing. Every time you have the thought, I have to do this, shift in your mindset. Even mindset plays a big role in this. They're going, wait a second, do I really have to do this? Why do I have to do this? Because I want this to happen. And why do I want this to happen? Because it makes me happy. You want to keep coming back to noticing everything you do is really to make you happy. And then you start getting in that mode of really prioritizing your happiness, and gradually your life begins to reflect, and the pressures shift to your priority, shift to what makes you happy and where you're dependent on others. Now, do you have a husband? Okay, that's right. You told me you were single. And what I would suggest is date. Start dating, not men you're interested in, men who are interested in you, not men that you're sexually attracted to, but men who are sexually attracted to you, interested in you, shy. You might have to use a little bit of your masculinity to let them know that they can ask you out. So you have to put yourself out there, but date the men that want you more than you want them. It's very important that that's the feminine side. If you pursue someone, you're on your masculine side. And if somebody's more interested in you than you're interested in them, there's no pressure on you to please them, because pleasing someone is your masculine side. And then when you read my book, you'll see all these techniques in dating where you can use the man to come back to your female side. He pays for dates. You ask him to do things. He does things for you. You talk more than him. You don't ask him a lot of questions. You disagree with him. Express your freedom of expression completely, but be careful. Don't try to change him. You see, that's the thing. You know, women go, oh, he doesn't want to hear me talk. Well, that's because you're trying to change him. But if you're talking about what you feel and what you think, and in here I talk about translating thoughts into emotions. Emotions are feminine. So you could say, oh, there was too much traffic on the bridge today. I had to sit and wait for hours, as opposed to there was a lot of traffic on the bridge. I felt so frustrated. I was so disappointed because I wanted to go here and go there. And I was concerned that I might be late. Fortunately, I finally got there. It was okay. And it's so nice to be able to talk freely with you. I really appreciate that at all. The key for men is whenever you communicate appreciation, their testosterone goes up. Whenever you minimize their mistakes, like he's late, he doesn't do something, find this very feminine, loving part of you and goes, hey, no big deal, not a problem. Next time I'd appreciate if you call, but not such a problem. Minimize his problems. Don't let your emotions magnify. Many women, when they get to their female side, it's so much danger to express emotions because like, okay, will I be rejected? Will he really hear me? That it produces dopamine, which is the addictive brain chemical, and you can get addicted to complaining. So many women are addicted to complaining and learning how not to complain. But that when you talk about your feelings, say, it's not a big deal, but this is what I would like. Think about it. So these are some little tips. They're all in my dating book, and I have Mars, Venus on a date, but also the key $1 million phrase for all women. If you want a man to hear you 100%, say, I just need to talk about this for a few minutes. Immediately starts to relax. Then you say things like, it's not a big deal, but I just want to talk about it, and to express your feelings. And if you can really get to the place where you realize all negative emotions are actually inhibited love. You're holding back love when you're feeling a negative emotion. So after you've expressed your feelings, if you're upset with a partner or something, you come back to say, and I'm really sorry I got triggered by that and said, oh, I've had all these feelings because I really love you and it's not a big deal. Why do all that? Because it's the primitive part of us, the manipulative monkey part of us that uses emotions to change people. You hurt me. You make me angry. How could you do that? I'm so afraid. All emotions are manipulations, but they're part of our being. We need to embrace it like a little child that needs more love. But we have to also recognize as adults that we just threw something at someone to make them feel inadequate or manipulate them. So you can even apologize for your negative emotions, but not like I'm bad, but like, hey, I'm taking responsibility. So many new lessons we can learn, but to take away on that one is just when you share with a man something already you can see he's getting nervous and defensive, just say to him, it's not a big deal, and he'll make it a big deal. Apologize for certain sensitivities, and he'll say, oh, okay, I'm sorry too, I'm sorry too. But when you blow things up, then men have to push it down. If you minimize, men will go, oh, no, 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 I want to make a change for you. So those are some ideas of learning to come back to your female side.
Wow, John, thank you. We've run out of time for questions. I even had a question about tears and, all of that. There's
Tears are estrogen. Tears are estrogen.
Okay, that does answer my question. Okay, so we are going to have to finish up our questions right now. And I want to ask you, John, about your current projects and your passions. Fill us in on different things.
Well, here's at my website, marsvenus.com. I have a free class for everybody at all ages and stages of relationship. There's a class for men only, one for women only, one for women in relationships, one for men in relationships, and that's free. That's my daughter, Lauren. She's also, carrying on the wisdom. She's a great teacher. So she also has classes for women only if someone's interested in that, which is particularly how to create estrogen in your life more is where she focuses. Also, I have at my website, I think there was another picture of my blogs on wellness. I'm really a big fan of wellness. Diane mentioned that I cured Parkinson's. I cured early stage Parkinson's. My head was shaking involuntarily. I had a choice to take medications or learn to take supplements for brain function. And I was able to reverse that. Occasionally, 20 years later, if I don't get enough sleep and I'm stressed, I might start having some of those symptoms again. But then I start taking the supplements again. So these are examples, like there's boys and porn addiction, how to protect your child. There's parenting techniques. There's how to balance your estrogen naturally. Don't take it, actually make it. The same one with testosterone. Don't take testosterone, how to make it. Social media threatens our health, that overstimulates us. So there's a lot of different things I talk about in terms of wellness, strengthening your immune system. That's very important right now. Particularly with COVID going around, keep in mind that the people who are obese and have high blood pressure are most vulnerable. There's one on ADHD. I wrote a whole book on ADHD. That was actually the precursor to my getting Parkinson's. So when I cured Parkinson's, all my ADHD symptoms went away. For me, ADHD symptoms look like procrastination or hyperfocus. Often people think ADHD is not focus. Actually, take any child diagnosed with ADHD and put them in a video game and they'll stay totally focused because it stimulates dopamine. So what we see is men's lack of attention span, or anybody's, is an inhibited dopamine function. And I've created some products that help me, but also I recommend a host of products. I have a whole health food store at my website as a resource for you as well. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I also have John Gray Mars Venus is my Facebook. And on Thursdays, I do 2.5 hours question and answers. And I've got 80 hours of videos from other Facebook Lives where I teach meditation, where I teach communication skills, where I teach healing the heart, a big part of my message, and success skills, sex skills, dating skills, and romantic skills. So all of that is on free at John Gray Mars Venus, and you're welcome to visit me there. And on Thursdays, come and ask me questions. I'm happy to be present for you and do my best.
You are really making yourself so much more available than anybody I've experienced in a long time, and it's beautiful. You do it with such warmth and caring, and we are really, really grateful. Let's all just give John a big hand. You might want to push your reaction button or whatever, because
I'm going to look. Let me look and see the clapping. I like to see clapping. If you like my talk, let me know. Thank you so much.
Well, you can even clap for yourself, which is great.
Yes, of course. Very good. Very good.
Here we go. That's it. Any closing comments, John? And then you're going to lead us in the most beautiful meditation. So
yeah, I love to do this meditation. I know already everybody does so many meditations and whatever, and I've been doing it now 50 years as well, and you evolve through different things. But what I found is something you can add on to your meditations is something we're going to do today. If you see the masters in the past, you see Jesus, he has his fingers up like this when he blesses, 2 fingers pulling energy from the heavens, 2 fingers pulling energy from the earth and sending it out with the thumb. Who knew? And Buddha would basically put his fingers like this. 3 fingers is bringing energy in and circulating it with the round. So, you know, it's always when people are in the church, they put their hands up like this. It's actually fingertips is the secret to activating the energy flows in the body. Slow movements of the hand, all the Tai Chi. It's about awakening the energy flows. And so it's literally like turning into a station of fingertips. So if you would join me just for now and put your fingertips up like this, let me see if I can get centered. And really light music, not very loud at all, please, Rebecca. Even lighter. Yeah. Get over here so you can see my finger.
Lower the music, Rebecca.
Yeah, okay, so I'll just, I don't know why this is. Just keep your fingertips up, because what happens when your fingertips are up, this is for the activation. And blood flow from the tips of the finger will start to come down, and that's a medical emergency to your body. And so energy will flow to your fingertips in order to balance. So just holding your fingertips up, and I'm just going to do a little prayer to activate the fingertips. Now, I'm like a tennis pro. If you play tennis with me, your game will improve. Now, some of you are already masters of meditation, so we'll just resonate together. So with our fingers up, dear God, our hearts are open to you. Through you, we call upon the powers of the universe. We need your help. Fill us with your love and light. And as a group today, as we call upon your blessings, activate the fingertips. As we feel our connection and our divine purpose and our mission in life to bring light and love into the world, activate the fingertips. As we call in your energy, your love, your light, and feel the frequency and the vibration in our fingertips, we activate now the palms, our arms up to our elbows. Fill us with your love and your light. Up the arms to the shoulders. Filling our heart with love and light. Feeling the vibration in our torso. Filling our belly with your love and light. We're calling forth so that we may better serve the world. Filling us up down to our legs, to our feet. Pulling the energy up from the earth, up to our heart as we pull energy down from the heavens to our heart. As we become the midpoint between the heavens and the earth to bring your light into manifestation through love, through service, and our relationships with all life. Awaken with us a greater appreciation, gratitude, caring for those in need, kindness, compassion. Let love in its many colors and forms stream through us in this moment. Let it flow out to the world, bringing peace, comfort, and ease. We feel grateful. Now, what we've just done is feeling the activation of our fingertips. Whatever your meditation practices are, if you're not already doing this, put a little tension on your fingertips to draw the energy through you as you do your meditation. Sometimes just listening to music and feeling the energy flow through the frequency of the music. Use nature. Right now, imagine a beautiful yellow rose. Make a little smile and let yourself resonate with nature. Using this rose, send your energy and fill me with your love and light. Or walking through a forest, using these trees, fill us with your love and light. Or seeing the waves rush in from the ocean, your feet in the sand, using the ocean, Fill us with your love and light, the frequency of nature. And now with your hands, shift them outward as if you're going to send energy out. And using the ocean, take away any of the stress in our bodies. Take away the pain in our hearts. Take away the regrets that we carry deep inside. Take away any of the fears that we might harbor. Let go of our resentments, feelings of anger, let it go, helping us to forgive ourselves and forgive others. Take away that blocked energy, old stale energy, freeing us from the past. Take away and feel the energy flowing out your fingertips into the imaginary ocean or to the rose, because as we let go of negativity, it becomes fertilizer to nature. The angels in heaven rejoice as we let go of old, stale, blocked, negative energies. Let it flow out, purifying you, opening your heart more. Imagine that beautiful rose, the petals opening wider and wider. Imagine you can smell the sweetness of it. As now you breathe in, rather than sending energy out, as you empty out, we have more room to receive. So once again, we call forth Father, Mother in heaven. Through you, we call upon all the powers of the universe to fill us with love and light and all good feelings. Let that energy flow back. It's like the waves. It went out and now it comes back. Let more energy flow in. And as we receive energy in, feel in your heart what you want, your dearest desires, your hopes, your dreams. Let that energy come in to make it more real, to bless you, to bless your life as you bless others. Feel the energy flowing in now. And be aware of any desires inside, and let that energy support you in having what you want, what you deserve, what you need. And that's just letting the energy flow. Let it flow from the base of your spine to the top of your head, and back down again, and circle. And now you can do the Buddha pose where you bring your two fingers, your thumb and your forefinger together. Let your hands come down. Feel the energy flowing in your fingers and the circle, symbolizing the energy flowing up and down. Flowing up the spine, the top of the head, down the front of your body. Circling. And feel your receptivity to receive more so you can give more. And let your heart now be filled with gratitude. What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for? Now we'll finish our meditation with thanks. Bring our hands together, rubbing them together, feeling thank you, thank you, thank you. So that awareness through the fingertips is like a turn-on switch that you can go walk through nature and just turn them on and feel your resonance with nature, with anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for one of my favorite mornings. One of my favorite Zoom mornings so far, for sure. Thank you so, so very much. And